Hey guys, welcome to my little kitchen. I'm Lexi and I'm a super amateur baker who loves to read. And my goal is to post weekly videos of me attempting to bake something for the first time while I talk about a book that I love. And the first part will be spoiler free in case anybody's interested in the book, and then I'll get into more details as I go. So it should be fun. This is my very first video, so it could be a total train wreck, but I guess we'll see how it goes. Today we're going to talk about Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, or the Philosopher's Stone, depending on where you're from, and bake chocolate chip cookies. I'm a huge fan of the Harry Potter series. I have been for as long as I can remember, honestly. The less dramatic answers, I was probably like 8 or 9 when the first movie was getting ready to come out, so then I started reading the books. They're some of my favorite books, probably my favorite series of all time, just because of how great I think they are, and I'll get on into all of that later. I do want to put a couple of small disclaimers. The first one is a little more serious. I know that there's a lot of drama surrounding Harry Potter and J.K. Rowling, so I just want to go on record to say that I do not condone or support anything that she has said. Quite frankly, I think she's lost her mind a little bit. I don't really know why she feels the need to say the things that she says, and I hope she gets the education on the topics that she needs. I really love this series, and it means a lot to me. It's gotten me through a lot of difficult times, and so I figured, since I don't really know anything about baking, I should start with books that I know really well. That way I can talk and bake a little more easily. The second disclaimer is that I actually did bake chocolate chip cookies like a week and a half ago, just to see how it was gonna go. I used to bake them all the time, but then I stopped, so it had been like probably 4 years before that since I baked them. They were okay. I wasn't super happy with the product, so we'll see. But the rest of my videos, it will probably be the first time that I've ever baked it, so it should be a real hot mess. I guess let's get started. Okay, in case you're curious, I'm just using like the Nestle Toll House chocolate chip cookie bag as a recipe. I don't have special recipes, so this is just what we're gonna do. I literally can't find my teaspoon thing. Maybe we don't have one. Okay, well, moving on. We may not have all the proper measuring things, but it's part of the fun, I guess. All right, here we go. Let's talk about Harry Potter. Okay, so Harry Potter. One of the things that I love so much about Harry Potter is that it's just a really solidly built world. It's just that all the characters are well written, and I think it's really easy to get into it, especially in the first book. One of the things that I think is so great about the first book is the fact that the world is just set up so well for you. All the characters, the entirety of everything you need to know about the Wizarding world and about Harry and his story is all right there for you. And I think that makes a big difference. A lot of stories don't do that, and I think that's part of the problem. So let me give you a brief synopsis if you haven't read this yet. Essentially, you meet Harry. Oh god, sorry, getting this baking soda out is a hot mess right now, especially because I can't find my like teaspoon thing, so I'm having to use 1/4 of a teaspoon and just sort of like hope it works. Okay, so Harry. So you meet Harry, and he's an orphan who lives with his aunt and uncle. His aunt and uncle, not nice people. His cousin, terrible person. Oh my gosh, salt! So his aunt and uncle, cousin, all terrible people. We do not like them. And he lives literally under a staircase. You know how like in a lot of staircases they have built in like a little cubby hole? Yeah, that's where he lives. They're great people, obviously. So that's what Harry's up to. Okay, so he's not living a great life. But then he starts getting these letters. And he never gets letters. I mean, he's an orphan. He doesn't have any friends because his cousin's a bully, so nobody wants to be friends with him. So he's like, where am I getting these letters from? Well, his uncle and his aunt are like determined he should not get these letters for some unknown reason. But he finally gets these letters. They're all the same. It's the same letter. And he gets them from one of our favorite characters throughout the whole series, Hagrid. Hagrid is huge. First of all, he's super tall, giant man, but he is incredibly warm-hearted and fluffy. So he comes and gives Harry his letter, his acceptance letter to Hogwarts, and Hogwarts is a school of witchcraft and wizardry. I had to melt my butter. I'm trying to decide if this is like, I think we're gonna just pop it in the microwave a little bit longer. So Harry meets Hagrid, that's where we're at. And Hagrid tells him he's a wizard. Surprise! And he is off to Hogwarts, which is a wizarding school that will train him to be the best of the best. He also finds out that his aunt and uncle have been lying to him about how his parents died for forever. And it turns out that they were murdered by this super evil guy named Lord Voldemort. Lord Voldemort was like the most feared dude like 11 years ago when Harry was a baby. Like 10-ish years ago, actually. And he showed up at Harry's house, about to kill Harry and his parents, and all of a sudden, even though he was able to murder Harry's parents, he was not able to murder Harry for whatever reason. So Harry is the boy who lived, and he's super famous in the wizarding world. But Harry thinks he's practically nobody. I mean, he's been bullied and treated like crap his whole life, so why wouldn't he? But he does get whisked away to Hogwarts, where he meets Ron and Hermione, who are his best friends, and gets to start learning about how he's a wizard and all these exciting things, which is very cool. But it turns out that there's some dark stuff brewing at Hogwarts, and so Harry and his friends have to kind of try to save the day, as all 11-year-olds should. So, update on the baking, it's going okay. I'm having a little bit of trouble because I cut along the recipe when I opened these the last time. Why haven't I been using the other bag that I have? I'm sorry. I'm not always the smartest person in the room. But we're doing okay. I think we're okay. Okay. So, we've got Harry. He's at school. He's living well. But dark forces. And it turns out that Voldemort is not dead, and he's gonna come back and try to get Harry. That's not a spoiler. That's life. Voldemort's the main villain of the entire series, so gotta get used to him now. Okay. So that's pretty much the summary. I mean, you've got this young kid who is finally away from all these horrible things like his aunt and his uncle, and able to be who he is and make friends, and people really like him, and that's great. But unfortunately, the world is not like that forever and always. I think we all know that by now. So if you are interested in reading this story and you do not want any spoilers, I would skip ahead to the part of the video where we find out if I was successful with these cookies or not. Because from here on out, I'm going to really dive deep into what I think about this book, and it is going to contain some spoilers. But as a quick summary, in case you're tired of me and you just want to know if you should read the book, great character work, great story. The plot is set up super well. The characters are set up super well. Things are descriptive without being overly descriptive, so you don't get bored. It's got a warm heart, and quite frankly, Harry is the type of main character that we all want. He's a good kid. He's nice. He tries his best for others. You know, he doesn't always put himself first like so many people do. And he wants to be the best version of himself that he can be, even at 11 years old, which I think is fantastic. So he's a likable main character. And I know that sounds weird to say, but I feel like I read a lot of books or watch a lot of movies and TV shows where I don't always love the main character. And I'm kind of trying to figure out, like, why the author wrote them that way. But with Harry, I really like him, and I feel like he's a good character. I would highly recommend the book, although you gotta know, if you love the first one, you're gonna get sucked in, and you're gonna end up reading the other 6. So don't get into this unless you're ready for 6 more books. Okay, I'm gonna get ready for spoilers, So here's the thing about these characters. Let's talk about how many amazing characters there are literally just in this one series. That's what really gets me. I don't know how She Who Must Not Be Named came up with all of these incredible people. I mean, obviously I've already talked about my love for Harry. I mean, he gets obnoxious later on in the series. We all know that. He got that teen angst, you know? But for the most part, like, he's super likable. He's super sweet. Hermione can be obnoxious because, I mean, she's the, like, little Miss Know-It-all. But honestly, like, she also has just, like, a heart of gold. And Ron can be obnoxious because, let's face it, Ron is super spoiled. I mean, I know it's said multiple times throughout the series that his family is poor, but in all honesty, like, even though his family's poor, he's used to a lot. I mean, guys, I'm getting flour all over myself. I need to get it together. Okay, sorry. I mean, you find out that he's one of 7, so, yeah, he's gonna have some rough times. Like, I'm practically an only child. Side story about me. I have an older sister, but she's 19 years older than me, and so she was out of the house when I came along with her own life and her own family. So I was pretty much raised as an only child. So I cannot imagine what it would be like to have 6 siblings. Sorry, the flour is not liking me today. In any case, like, he gets lots of love. His parents are amazing. We don't meet them really in this first book. I mean, we don't really meet them until the second book. But it turns out his family's amazing, and he's super, super lucky. So I feel like throughout the series, Ron kind of needs to be better. But overall, I mean, he really does love, and he really tries so hard. So, chocolate chips are going in. So I think that's a great thing. And I think that, like, those are your 3 main characters, Ron, Hermione, and Harry. And so if you don't like them, you're going to have a tough time. But I really love them. I think they're fantastic. And, you know, I think that it's a really special start to the series. Sorry, I just realized you can't really see me that well. I think it's a really special start to the series. Okay. I need more chocolate chips. I think we're doing okay, honestly. We're looking really good over here. I know you can't see it, but we are, I promise. I am not going to cut on the recipe this time, because I might not use all of these chocolate chips. I know that sounds crazy, but sometimes, like, the batter's just as good as the chocolate chips, you know? So, but then, okay, so you have the kids. The kids are great. I mean, you meet other kids like Dean and Seamus, Draco. We hate Draco, but we love him at the same time because he also got a rough childhood, which you don't really find out about until later. You can disagree with me all you want, but his dad's a bully, and I'll fight somebody on that. Okay, well, I might as well use all of these because there was, like, nothing left in the bag. All right, very chocolatey chocolate chips today. But anyway, so the kids are great. But then you have the teachers, like McGonagall. Oh, yes, ma'am. She's a queen. We love McGonagall. I mean, I do. I don't know. I feel like if you don't like McGonagall, I don't know how to help you. Like, how do you not like McGonagall, you know? Then, of course, there's Snape, the ever-controversial Snape. Say what you will, but he has a flawless story. By the time we get to the finish of this, that's a story arc right there. I'm going to test the batter. It's chocolate chip cookies. I feel like I can't possibly have messed it up that badly. Yeah, we're good. Here's my idea. I was thinking an ice cream scoop, but I tried that last time, and I didn't really like it. So I think what I'm going to do instead is wash my hands and put them in the little balls myself to put them on the baking tray. That's what I'm thinking. Okay, let's try this. I'm just going to take a little bit, because the thing is I don't want, like, huge cookies. That's the thing. But they're going to stick to my hands. I'm realizing that. But I think it's okay. So we know Snape is controversial. That's where we left off. Is not the world's nicest man. That is for sure. But he has a great journey throughout this series. And I think we can all agree on that. Then we've got Dumbledore. We have a love-hate relationship with Dumbledore, too, because, you know, for reasons we can get into later in the other books. But we have a love-hate relationship with Dumbledore. And then it's like there's Voldemort. I mean, he is the unknown bad guy. Like, you don't really know much about him in this first book, which I think is what makes him so mysterious. I mean, you don't know if he is still out there, if he's not. Like, you literally just don't know when he's gonna crop up or what it's gonna be like and what kind of powers he's gonna have. I love that. Then you've got Quirrell, who, like, out of the blue is a bad guy. That's crazy to me. Okay, I'm realizing part of this problem is there's so much dough on my hands, and I can't put these in the oven, and I'm just gonna have to rewash my hands all these different times. This may not work. Here they go. Okay, I'm not setting a timer because that's just not who I am as a person. Okay, so those are gonna bake for the foreseeable future. I think the thing with Quirrell, can't speak today, Quirrell, is that you just really don't see it coming. I mean, I didn't. I was 8, but, like, I didn't see it coming. And I think that's cool. I think it's like, I think it's also the first time that we really see a character do something they don't really want to do because they think it will lead them to power. Because Voldemort represents power for a lot of these characters. I think that's a big deal. And I think that's the first time we really see that. It also always makes me laugh how they have these, like, when they're going to get the Sorcerer's Stone, they have all these obstacles that the teachers have put in the castle, and these, like, 3 11-year-olds are able to beat it. Like, I know they're together, and it's supposed to be for, like, one grown wizard, but I feel like one grown wizard is probably the equivalent of 3 11-year-old wizards. I mean, they're first-year wizarding students, so, like, they don't really have a whole lot going on. And it always makes me laugh that they, like, all got through that. I'm really tempted to eat more of this cookie dough, but I'm trying not to. But I think it's also, too, the first time that you get to see how worthy Hermione and Ron are of being Harry's friends. I mean, Ron is incredibly useful, especially in the chess. I mean, I can barely play chess. My fiance taught me once, and I was okay at it, but we haven't played since. That was like a year ago, so I doubt that I'm very good anymore. I ever was. And I was never good. But I think the cool thing about Hermione is you get to see she's very cool and calm in a bad situation. I mean, she gets them out of the devil's snare, and then she gets through the logic area in Snape's potion, the riddle in Snape's potion. And if you're thinking to yourself, I don't remember that, it's because you've only seen the movie and you haven't read the book, and they took it out of the movie. Side note, I love the movies. I think they're fantastic. I think that they cast super well. Like, they did a phenomenal job of casting. But, I mean, they're going to leave stuff out. They're movies, and these are books. So, highly recommend reading the books instead of just watching the movies. No, but I think it's great. I really do. And I think it's a really good start to the series. And you kind of leave hopeful, but, like, you know that the world is going to change, and that Harry's world is going to change. Okay, I cleaned up some of my work area, and I have 2 trays because I'm a super impatient person, and I don't want to wait when I pull cookies out of the oven to put the next batch in, because I can only get in 8 cookies on a tray, and I have this whole batch, so it's going to take forever. I do not think that balling them up with my hands was super successful. I don't know, let's check on them. I mean, it wasn't totally terrible, but I think we can figure out something better. Now, the first batch is almost done, so let's figure this out. Okay, I have an ice cream scoop. I mean, I don't love the idea, but I think we're going to try it. Okay. Okay, it's okay. It's okay. It'll be fine. I would love your comments below, what you think about the first book, anything that you think I left out. It doesn't take super long to read, so I know there's probably stuff that I need another spoon. So I know that there's probably stuff that I, left out and didn't talk about. Feel free to comment below, but if you haven't read the book, know that people might comment, and you don't want those spoilers. Alright, next batch is ready to go. The ice cream scoop, plus the help of the other little spoon, was, I think, it'll work. Alright, first cookies. Now, I don't bake my cookies for as long as probably other people do. And I will tell you why as soon as I put these in. The reason being that I had a roommate in college that when she would make cookies for us in the apartment, she was so good at it. I thought, like, she was cookie magic. Like, she was cookie queen. And, I had a cookie break apart. I lost a cookie behind my washer and dryer, so we've got a cookie down. Anyway, my roommate in college, her name was Erica, so thank you, Erica. I one day asked her how she got her cookies to stay soft, through their entire, cookie life. Because the thing is, a lot of times cookies tend to get hard, after they've cooled off and they've been out for a while. Cookies get hard. Rest in peace to the cookie that fell behind my washer and dryer. I don't love hard cookies. I know that sounds weird. And actually, counterpoint, Oreos are my favorite cookie. But Oreos are supposed to be hard. I feel like chocolate chips and other cookies are supposed to be warm and gooey. And you don't really get that after they've been sitting for a while. So she told me that one of the secrets was to take them out of the oven a little bit earlier and take them from the baking sheet to the paper towels. I'm trying to let this cool before we put another round of cookies on it because I don't really want them to start baking too long. So anyway, if you see my cookies not baked long enough, mind your business. Okay, so this is the non-spoiler free portion of the book review, book discussion. So feel free to rejoin. If you've skipped ahead, you're in good spot. No more spoilers. This is one of my copies of the book. I have to confess, I am such a huge Harry Potter nerd that I actually have like 3 or 4 different copies of the series. I actually think I have 2 complete versions of the series. And then I have like a half completed version of the illustrated ones that they're coming out with. And I have like a half completed paperback version of the series. I know I have a problem. You don't have to tell me. You can find these at libraries. I'm a huge fan of libraries. Please, please, please frequent yours. I want someday to have my own private library, so I buy stuff. But if you're not in the mood to buy, 100% go to the library. But you can find these, I mean, Barnes & Noble, Amazon, or check your local bookshops and see if you can shop local. We're going to check on our cookies. Okay, those ones are doing okay. I think we're going to go ahead and spoon these ones out really quick. Okay, we're going to grab a cookie. This one's cute. Look. Okay, let's see. I think I did a good job. I think those are good. Now, the real test will be to see what happens when they really cool, if I used Erica's secret trick or not. But for right now, they're really gooey. If you're not a huge fan of gooey cookies, obviously leave them in a little bit longer. I'm no expert by any means, but the one tip I do have would be to remember that when they come out, if they're left on the tray, they'll continue to bake a little bit longer on the tray. So if you're pulling them out and you're thinking, oh my gosh, they're perfect, don't leave them on the tray. It's really difficult because they're soft and gooey, and that's how I lost one behind the washing machine. But go ahead and transfer them to something else so that they'll stop baking. And that's the only baking tip that I have. This is a good cookie. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today and being a part of my kitchen. If you enjoyed yourself and you're interested in reading and baking, or baking and books, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button for me. Feel free to leave your comments on what you think. I love to hear some feedback. Or if you've got fun recipes, remember that I'm a beginner and super amateur baker, so try not to throw anything crazy at me. But I would love your recipes. And again, I just used the Nestle Toll House recipe on the back of the chocolate chips. Nothing crazy. Took them out a little bit earlier, as per my friend Erica, so that they stay nice and soft throughout their shelf life. And of course, I highly suggest that you go out and read Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone and give the series a try. So, thank you guys so much. I'll see you next time.